Hey guys, so today myself and my son Hayden headed down to Crude Strength and Performance for our last hard event day before Edmonton Strongest Man 2018. So here we are, we're just doing our pretty comprehensive warm-up that we like to do. Used to just jump into lifting, but that's kind of catching up to me quick. So now we do a good warm-up, get the hips, glutes, core, everything warmed up. Here I'm doing some hip swingy thingies, and I finished that with a little squat, so I was feeling pretty tight today. Spent the day before this sitting in the car, went for a little road trip, so it took a little extra few minutes to get loose. Before all this, we did McGill's 3. That's something I've been doing every day. It's been a tremendous help with my core strength and how my low back feels. I didn't bother filming it. It's kind of boring, but if you guys do a quick YouTube search, you can check that out. It's been a huge help to me, and we've been pretty much starting every day with that. And then we got into our events. So this is my event day. I hit up 3 different events on this day. So this was filmed on Monday. On Friday, I actually have a deadlift day, so I don't deadlift on this day. I take care of the deadlifting on Friday. And then Saturday is my overhead. So whatever overhead we're going to do in the competition, I'll hit on Saturday. So that leaves Monday for the remaining events. So Edmonton Strongest Man upcoming, there's going to be a little overhead medley, axle deadlift, yoke, frame carry, and stone over the bar. So today we hit the yoke. They do have a big frame type bar down at Crude, but it's pretty big and there's other people around training, so we just did farmer's walks with the farmer's walks implements, and then some practice with the stones over the bar. So today wasn't the heaviest I've ever gone on the yoke, but it was definitely the most volume I did with this much weight. I warmed up there with just the empty yoke, which was 180 pounds. Got a little extra warm-up in at 280. Normally I would go like 180 to 400 because I find 400 pretty light on the yoke, but I got an extra one in today because we were sitting in the car the day before and was feeling pretty tight. So we went 180, 280, 400, and then we got some runs in at 540 pounds. And I basically just took 2-minute rest between rounds and did as many as I could until I started to really find I was slowing down. So I did the yoke for the first time about 2 months ago, and it was pretty ugly. So just from talking to some guys that are stronger than me and have a little more experience, I got some tips from them, and it's been helping out a ton. The biggest one I find that's really helped me with bracing properly with the yoke is pressing out on that yoke as hard as I can as I walk with it. That's just helped me like engage my lats, my upper back, and kept everything nice and tight. So that's a good trick you guys can try if you're struggling with the yoke. I just get in there, take a big breath, get the back nice and tight, press out against that yoke as hard as I can, and keep pressing out on it the whole time. I know some guys try pulling in on it. I think that might work a little better for bigger guys, as I tried that technique and I just couldn't get it. So the pressing out was what I like, and it felt pretty good. So one thing I'm trying to work on is my breathing for the yoke. I can get about halfway down on the one breath, and then I kind of got to blow out and take in more air. Here's Hayden just hitting some rows. Yeah, giving her. Yeah, so I just want to get quicker and work on the breathing so I could pretty much get the whole way down on the one breath of air. Keep it nice and tight, kind of like doing one squat rep. And just getting a little quicker when I transition. You know, I put the yoke down and turn around to pick it up again, and I got to go through everything again in my head with bracing and pushing out on the yoke. But I think that's just because I haven't done it too much yet, and that'd just come with experience, and it'd get quicker and become more natural. So after the yoke, we got ready for some farmer's walks. So this was just a quick run with the empty implements. I believe they're 120 each. That's what I'm going to count them as anyway. And then we went from there to, I think this is 170. And then this time we didn't stick with the same weight. Changed it up a little bit. Just tried to add 20 pounds to each handle and keep going until we really started to get slow. I'm inside of 2 weeks out now, so this was a lot of volume with the small jumps and stuff, but the first few runs were pretty easy and not that demanding on the body. And once I started to slow down, I just quit and moved on. Same sort of thing with the yoke, because being so close to my first strongman contest, I don't want to wear myself out too much. I work a lot of night shifts, and I've made mistakes before training for the few powerlifting meets where I've done where I've just trained too hard, too close to the meet, and I've gotten too run down. I know maybe some guys can train pretty heavy up to the week of the meet, but for me, I don't sleep a ton. I work a lot of night shifts. I got 3 little kids, so about 2 weeks out, I started to taper down the workouts. So this was still pretty grueling today, but I didn't wear myself right down into the ground or do anything to failure. Once things started to slow down, we just quit. Here we are. Those red plates are rubber 55-pound Pinley plates. They are just awesome. I would love to get my hands on some of those for the garage. They're down at Crude Strength, and those plates are deadly. So I think the last run I did was 250 a side. Again, I've gone heavier on these. I've gone right up to 280, but I didn't want to totally beat myself out today. So yeah, this is my run with 250, and after this one, I called it quits. I knew it was starting to get a little slower. I was getting a little gas. So then we set up for some stones. And you can't see the weights because I was trying to zoom in so I want to get everybody else in the gym, but that sure is 250 pounds each side. If those handles are 120, which I'm assuming they are. And then we took a little breather and moved on to the stones. So I just warming up a little with the 170. Nice and easy. Nothing to it. Got a rep in with the 245. Still new to stones. Getting used to my technique and stuff. And then went up to the 280. And you can see how that went. So I didn't have any tacky, just using like whatever tacky is left on the stone. And I felt like I could move this, but it was just tearing my forearms. Every time I started to pull, my forearms just started to slide up the stone and tear. I don't really have that much time for them to heal out. So after a couple tries there, we decided to just go back to the 245 stone. I'm confident that I could get this weight on a good day with tacky, but I'd like to be able to do it on a bad day without tacky. So we're going to keep working on that. And here we go with the 245. Believe I got it over the bar 4 times in 90 seconds. That was pretty tough. I was pretty winded at the end, but we got her done. I'm kind of playing with my foot position. I try to straddle the stone, keep the stone right between my feet. But then sometimes I feel like once I get to that cradle part, my legs are a little too wide. So I got to practice and find a good technique for me. I've only done stones like heavy over 200 pounds 3 times now, and stones altogether maybe 5 times, because I got a little bitty 150 pound stone in my garage that my wife could probably throw around. So I just need a little more time to play around with these, and I think I could figure out what would work good for me. Here we go. Geez, that thing is so high. What I wouldn't give to be like even 5'8". Frig, that would be nice. But hey, you gotta do what you can. So yeah, here my legs are pretty wide. I gotta work on a different position for that, because it was like too wide there, and it made the initial pick easier, but then when I got the thing on my lap, I wasn't in a good position. And I got to get a little closer to that bar too. I don't want to have to pick up the stone and walk with it, so that's something we're going to figure out. And here's the ugly forearms all tore up. And here's something I've been doing at the end of every session where I do anything like that involves compression, like squats, deadlifts, yoke, anything like that. I just hang from the bar for a few seconds, and that has been doing wonders for how good my back feels along with the McGills. So guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. And train with bad intentions.